Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Beth, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. How's it? Looks bright there and nice as
It's
usual.
bright, but there's a bit of a breeze, a chilly breeze from the coming down from the mountains.
It's 3 degrees here this morning in in West Yorkshire. It's very cold, but it's nice. It's nice and bright and jolly and nice and bright and jolly and gay.
I saw that when you sent me that photograph from you and the boys on the bikes the other day. It was 5 degrees.
Yesterday, yeah. Actually, just before I took the photograph of the temperature to send you, it was 4 degrees. And then when we got further up onto the top, it drops down into Cumbria. You go across the corner of Cumbria for about 20 minutes before you go back into North York, into County Durham again. But 230 miles, nice day, and Britain's highest pub. Bikers, any bikers out there, if anybody wants to go for a nice ride in North Yorkshire, it's the Tan Hill, highest pub in the UK. So I thought I would prepare a song just to the ending of the day brings the calm, hey, that we've been waiting for. You can't wait to close your eyes, fall into the black, and disappear. Sorry, I couldn't resist it.
That night at the Eiffel Tower. I don't know what night at the Eiffel Tower. I've spent a few nights in the Eiffel Tower. There's a restaurant on the first floor. But if you're talking about the journalist, it wasn't at night, it was in daytime. It was about lunchtime. And he was a pain in the arse. So, and he was waiting for me out at our little hotel. I think we were doing the Raven. Yeah. And so I invited him up to the first floor. A couple of the crew came with me. We grabbed hold of him and took his trousers off, as you do, and gaffer taped him to one of the pillars and left him there. The problem being that he became the biggest music journalist in France. So we were kind of written out of music in France for about 20 years, but it was worth it. Not at all. Not technique-wise, but melody-wise, yeah, of course. It gives you, classical guitar gives you more melody than you would probably garner if you hadn't done classical, but that's about all. Different time signatures, which is always helpful in a band like the Stranglers. But the technique-wise, no, not at all. I most of the time I use a pick on the bass, and of course I don't use a pick on the guitar. Remember, walking on the sand. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da.
The Ronettes, the 3 degrees, there's millions. Martha Reeves and the Vandellas is always
Yeah,
always a favourite.
Yeah.
And we had a really nice moment a few years ago when we did a festival in Scotland called Belladrum, and Martha Reeves was on the bill. And can you remember this, Jane?
I do. She was wearing, well, they were all wearing long red sort of silk dresses, and then backstage, well, no, behind the stack, I could see, because they were on before us, and then we came on, and I caught sight of her standing behind my bass stack with your missus.
Yeah,
and
she said to my missus, these guys are great. Do they have any CDs?
Yeah, do they have a CD? Great. as a result of that, I rediscovered Martha Reeves and the Vandellas.
Yeah.
And one I wouldn't mind we covered, which is, what was it?
Nowhere to Run.
Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide.
Brilliant. That's
Great.
brilliant. That's a great song. That's a really good song. Apparently she was an absolute and total sweetheart. And as much as we rediscovered Martha Reeves after that, I'd like to think that she discovered us. That's quite a thing. We were buzzing about that for days actually when we came on. It was quite funny. So I would say Martha Reeves and Vandellas for myself.
Me, Shangri-Las or the Crystals.
Yeah. The Ronettes.
The Ronettes, yeah. Well, it just so happens that I've been reminded of the vintage of my green Fender P. It's a 1963, and I inherited it through the Swedish guy who left Hugh's band at the time. They were called Johnny Socks. When Hugh came to my bedsit in Guildford, looking very distraught and having found that his band had deserted him and left him at Jet's off license, he came to me on a Friday night, and I wasn't going out in those days. I was saving my money up to go to Japan, and so I was entertaining myself with my guitar, played him what would end up as being a Go Buddy Go. And he said, look, this guy has left my band, and he's left the bass. Would you be interested? Anyway, cut a long story short, I inherited this green bass, which was shitty colour, but I didn't know anything about basses really, and those days. And that I recorded Rattus and No More Heroes with, but I damaged it beyond repair really. So we stuck it back together, but it never sounded the same. It was a great guitar. In fact, we've still got it. We've still got that guitar. There's still blood stains on it, because it was used in all kinds of manner of scrapes at the time. It had a unique sound.
I've played that guitar a couple of times when we did Dead Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The first time when Paul was still in the band all those years ago, we did it on a tour, and it feels fantastic. It's light. It's like a Telecaster.
Using a high watt, which I'm sure wasn't a bass amp as such. It was a guitar amp, but that's all I had. High watt, 100 watt.
That bloody Blue Peter badge follows me around. No, I didn't appear on Blue Peter, although I suspect, like most children my age,
you appeared on Jim Will Fix It, though, didn't you?
I sat on his knee until something popped up. I got the Blue Peter badge off my missus, who wrote in and had a few, and she just gave it to me one day, and I just thought it would be a funny little daft arse British cool thing to stick on my guitar strap. So I put it on the guitar strap, and it raised no end of questions, bizarrely. It's now broken in half. I think half of it's still on the strap and the other half went missing somewhere. But funnily enough, on my last birthday, which was on tour, funnily enough, that was a real coincidence. One of the crew bought me a handful, one of the crew bought me a handful of Blue Peter badges off the internet. Green, I'm looking at them now, green ones, orange ones, and all kinds of things. So, no, I've never been on the programme. Yes, it was an authentic Blue Peter badge, and that was it.
Do those colours signify anything?
I think they do. I think the green one is if you're conscientious of the environment. I think that one comes with environmental issues. The orange one is when you can cut an orange in half and stick cocktail sticks in it with coconut, with pineapple and sausages on. You get one.
Stick your cock in it?
Sorry?
Did you say cut it in half and stick your cock in it?
Cocktail sticks.
Oh, sorry.
You've got a fucking one-track mind, man. You really are.
Two track.
Yes, sorry, I completely forgot. I don't know what they signify, but they're all different colours, and one of the boys bought me some, and I appreciate it. So, bizarrely, I now have about 8 Blue Peter badges after never being on the show. How amazing is that?
Did you ever want to Valerie Singleton?
Leslie Judd. It wasn't Valerie Singleton for me.
Which one was he? Which one was he?
Leslie Howard's brother. Leslie Judd was a blonde-haired one that looked a bit like what's her name? Purdy. She looked a bit like Joanna Lumley. She had that kind of blonde 70s bob, and she was fantastic at making things out of pipe cleaners.
I wouldn't call that a pipe cleaner, Baz.
I was talking about you, man.
I got in there first, mate.
Yes, indeed. I would say maybe there's some stuff that we've recorded for the new record, which has arguably got some fantastic, and I have to say, not just from me, but from JJ as well. There's some great singing from the pair of us. As regards Dave, Peasant in the Big Shitty just blows me away. That whole track, it's always been one of my favourite Stranglers tracks. And when we've played it live in my time, I've usually been the instigator. You know, can we do that one? Can we do that one? Just wonderful vocals from Dave. Just a great all-round track. Asking a musician that is like,
wow,
taking calls to Newcastle. It changes. It changes all the time. Your favourite track can change from one week. Yeah, from one week to the next, because
we've had this a few times. You know, they say, can you do a list of top 5 or top 10 favourite tracks? And inevitably, from one week to the next, or maybe from the next one day to the next, there'd be a completely different list. You know,
absolutely. I would say, top of my head today. The other day on the radio, I heard "Making Plans for Nigel" by XTC, which is just what a pop song that is. You know, tomorrow.
They're a great little band. Actually, I was in Paris. I was producing, I think it was a Taxi Girl album. I was in Paris and I went to the gig and we were all out in the street waiting to go in. And then they told us Andy Partridge didn't want to go on stage, so it was cancelled. And I think that was possibly the last, it might possibly be the last time they ever attempted to play. And that's a long time ago.
Actually, on that note, if you've ever been to see us for the last 10 years on tour, and you hear the music over the PA while you're waiting for the band to come on, or you come in, or the music that's on when you leave, any incidental, any music at all that you hear over the PA during an evening with the Stranglers, we've all picked it. It's all hand-picked. Me, JJ, Dave, and Jim, and before that, Jet as well. So anything that you hear, it never gets played over the PA at a gig. unless we've picked it. So that's a good indication, I guess, of what we all listen to. And
however, some of us have been censored. Why can't we play Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll? No, this is an interesting debate, actually, because is an artist responsible for can you separate the artist from his art? And this becomes quite a deep conversation, because for a start, Gary Glitter didn't write that that song, but also it brought up a thing about Daniel Barenboim was trying to play Wagner in Tel Aviv quite a few years ago, and members of the audience jumped up on stage, and basically I don't think that the concert took place in the end, because, as everyone knows, Wagner was a notorious, it's quite anti-Semitic. So does that invalidate his music? And that's an interesting debate.
This is going to sound a bit ridiculous, but I and my mother would still say this to this day, thought that I might be an ornithologist because
you like birds.
In my early years, I was absolutely obsessed with bird watching, and it's something that's
he can still name the tune. He hears a bird singing, and 9 times out of 10, Baz tells me what it is.
Yeah, Merv's better at identifying bird songs.
Even better.
Yeah, but I can identify them by looking at them.
You are a bit of a twitcher.
I know, and what do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I had. I don't know how it came about, but I'm sure the connection's obvious. I at one point I had 550 frogs. I had a frog waste paper basket, so it's the mouth of the frog was about standing sort of a wicker paper basket. I had Count Fogula, which was a little black silk frog with a little red heart here and a red cape, no, black cape with a red inside thing. I had frog candles. I had frog chocolates, frog-shaped chocolates. I had, over 500 frogs.
What happened to all of them? What happened to that then?
Fuck knows.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking us why, when the movie's going to come out. It'll only come out when Hugh and his publishers relent to use of the songs, which are collectively ours, because that's how we always did stuff. So Hugh's blocking release of the movie.
I was going to ask you about your hinges.
No, we're not going on about hinges.
I've actually moved away from the hinges now. You know, when you open the door, the handle, and there's a little silver plate on the side of the door, which is...
No, we don't have hinges like that here.
It's not a hinge. It's not a hinge. It's the locking mechanism for your door. People often paint over them as well. That annoys the fuck out of me. That's all I'm going to say. Jay, I'll speak to you next week, and have a nice weekend, mate. And I'll speak to you very soon. Lots of love. Love you, man.
Why so long?
What?
Why so long next week?
Well, I'll tell you why. It's my wedding anniversary on Monday, and we are going to start drinking at 5 o'clock tonight. Now, that encompasses Saturday and Sunday and Monday, Corin's taking Tuesday off, Monday and Tuesday off. If I drink for 3 days solid, I will be as rough as a badger's arse by Tuesday. So I'll give you a call on Wednesday.
Okay.
You can manage through that, can't you? Can you manage?
Well, without
Yeah.
speaking to you for 5
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Listen, I know it's going to be tough on you. I know. It's tough on me too. It's not a decision I've taken lightly. So you're making me feel bad now. All right, listen, I'll call you tomorrow. Love you.